talk to you tonight about a term that maybe you've heard of and maybe you haven't. TCK. I have a question for you. How many of you have traveled outside of Kazakhstan? Wow, a good number. I meet a lot of friends who like to do that. I feel like this group, in Kazakhstan, really enjoy traveling. How many of you have lived outside of Kazakhstan? How many have lived 6 months? A year? Okay, oh, keep the hands up, keep the hands up. Okay, 2 years. Okay, I like this. Wow, keep your hands up. 3 years. Woo, I really like this. 4 years. Okay, four. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Where did you live for 4 years? Please.
Because I'm not from Kazakhstan, honestly. Because I'm from Afghanistan. That's why I'm raising my hand.
Great. Okay. So, wow, awesome. And back here. That's great. I love it. Where are you from?
I'm from Russia.
Okay, and you've been here for more than 4 years?
Oh, 4 years.
For a year. Okay, great. And then, super. Yay! And what about you? Nice and loud.
I spent time in America the last
4 years. And you?
I spent most of my life in America.
But, okay. So yeah, this is my older son and his wife.
Oh.
And Joshua and Susanna. And they are actually, and maybe even TCK in the sense that they spend a significant amount of their growing up in another country. So we are going to talk about that today. So let's say you may want to end up living overseas. Maybe you'll get married and have children. So your children have a passport country, and that's your passport. But they grow up in a different passport country, a different country. So if you ask them a question about where am I from, it's hard for them to answer, right? I know where I'm from. I'm from California in America, same house all my life until I moved. If you ask someone who's grown up overseas, like for my kids, when they were in Kazakhstan, they would say, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. When they're in Boston, they say, I'm from Kazakhstan. So we're actually going to watch a little video, and it is, whoops, I'm going to go over, so a TCK knows lots of languages, right? We're going to watch a funny video. And I want to let you know one thing. Does anyone know where Pasadena is? Pasadena is in Los Angeles, Southern California. And so the funny thing about the intro of this video, they introduce themselves. Well, my mother's half Ukrainian and part of this and part of that, and I lived here and I lived there. And he says, well, where are you from? And she's like, Pasadena, like one place. And he's like, oh. And so that's how the video starts. So I hope, let's see if it'll, do you think, do you think
Press it
it'll?
one more time.
Thank you.
So I was born in England, but my mom is American, my dad is French, and I grew up in Russia, Spain, and Hong Kong. Well, actually, my mom is Ukrainian-American, and my dad is French-Moroccan because he was born in Morocco, so I guess I'm a mix of all those things. Where are you from?
I'm from Pasadena.
Oh, just Pasadena.
I
Bye!
miss you so much, Markion.
Me
When am I
too.
going to see you next?
A few years, maybe 2025.
What? No! I'm so sad!
It happens every time I move.
Hey, can I have some of this?
Oh, no, that's my one from Spain. You just put that away.
Wait.
Okay, it's not working.
Well, that's what happens sometimes. Okay, I will just keep going and maybe we won't have a video. So the video is basically sharing how this one guy who's got multiple nationalities in his life versus this one girl who's like, I'm from Los Angeles. And then the next scene is about snacks. Like she wants to eat this. No, that's my favorite whatever from this country and that country. And so a characteristic of someone who grew up overseas at TCK, that's why I say global citizens. They're not tied to one culture. They take different cultures that they live in and that they've lived in, and it becomes kind of who they are, and they create their own culture. So I don't know if we're going to go forward. But the other part is someone who just grew up in, grew up in Pasadena, a lot of times they don't really understand. And another funny part about this video, most kids who grow up overseas, like if I ask my son a capital of a country, he probably knows what it is, right? Stand up, Josh. Okay. Okay. Ask him a capital of a country.
Any country.
Any country.
Romania. Romania? Bucharest? Yeah.
Okay, someone else. Okay, this guy in the back. Who's this guy? Abad.
China. Beijing.
Nigeria.
Wait, here we go.
Tajikistan.
Dushanbe.
Me.
Okay.
Nigeria.
Nigeria?
Yes.
Lagos.
Afghanistan.
Where?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan? Kabul. Mongolia?
Yeah.
Ulaanbaatar.
In the back?
Georgia? Tbilisi?
Yeah.
Pakistan? Islamabad. India? Or, I don't know if Islamabad is correct.
No, it's correct.
It is correct? Okay.
Me.
Tatarstan.
Huh?
Tatarstan.
Tatarstan?
No.
Tatarstan not independent country.
It's a part of Russia. It's a
Occupation. Me.
Oh, it's Kazan.
Oh, Kazan.
I did not know.
Okay, two more. Okay, we got one back here.
Estonia.
Estonia. Ooh. Estonia. That one I do not know. What is it?
Tallinn.
Tallinn. Oh.
Litva.
Huh?
Litva.
Lithuania?
Yes, Litva is.
Oh, these are the ones I don't know.
Riga.
Those three. Lithuania, Latvia, and
Let's
Estonia.
set one over our head.
Vilnius.
Okay.
Riga?
Thank you. So, and also, a lot of times, some positive things about a third culture kid is that they have a good sense of the world, like a global citizen. So probably those of you who may not be from Kazakhstan, who live here, maybe from Afghanistan, you probably have more of appreciation of different cultures, because now you're not living in your own culture, right? Or you're not living in your own culture. So we grow as we step out, and that would be a characteristic. Also is that another positive characteristic would be, global citizen. They adapt well. They can fit in because a lot of times they don't have a home culture. So they can relate to lots of different people. A lot of times they're good with languages because they've learned different languages at a young age. Some of the other sides would be they can fit in everywhere, but sometimes they feel like they don't fit in because they don't, like my children, they don't feel Kazakh, and at other times they don't feel American. And so sometimes there can be identity, like who am I? And that can also be hard. Oh, can I go ahead and, oh, I forgot, I didn't realize, I just can't. Who wrote lots of material about this says that a third culture kid is a person who spent a significant amount of their time not in their home culture, not in their home country. They build relationships to all of the cultures while not having full ownership of any. And although elements from each culture may be assimilated, they have a sense of belonging to relationships that are similar. So I have a question. This is something that those of you who have lived overseas, maybe you have identified with, or if you think you are Kazakhstani and you live here from here. Who are you and who are our children? When you mirror, it means that you look like the culture and you think like the culture, right? So if you're from Kazakhstan, you probably look like your culture and you think like your culture. If you're adopted, kind of, I mean not literally, but kind of adopted culture, you look often different from your culture, from the culture, but you think like the culture. The hidden immigrant looks like the culture, but thinks different from the culture, and the foreigner looks different and thinks different. So I have a question, who am I, according to that? Yeah, I'm a foreigner. Even though I've lived here for a really long time, I'm still a foreigner. I can't look Kazakhstani if I try. Oh, it's so hard, you know. I wish I could fit in better, but I don't, you know. And my Russian is so-so, and my Kazakh is even worse. But who is someone who might look like the culture but think different from the culture? Are there any hidden immigrants in this room? Do you know who you are? You feel like you are?
Yeah, I do feel like I'm immigrant, even though I look like my culture. But when I go to some places or some events and you share your opinions, you feel like you're not fitting in. Yes, but it's not bad.
Right. No, it's not bad. It's
It
just,
shows that you're open-minded, you're open for new things.
yeah.
Try new things that you're not scared of.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so a lot of people, when you live in another culture, you take on, like a friend of mine who moved to Poland, right? So they're actually, they look like a foreigner, and their culture's different. So I mean, it's good to be able to identify who you are, because then you're going to live in that culture better. Are you or your children third culture kids? So one of the hardest questions to ask a third culture kid is, where are you from? Well, and you saw at the beginning of the video, right? He had lots of answers to that question. You could fly before you could walk. And that's true in my family. We were flying with our children before they could walk. Speak 2 languages but can't spell in either one. A lot of times third culture kids are not very good spellers. And you can swear effectively in multiple languages, which is very important. Josh, do you know some bad words? The bad words that I know aren't that bad. Like I know Biskandova, I know Atstoy, I know. But I think Josh probably knows. Do you know some bad words in Chinese? Oh, okay. So are your kids third culture kids, or do you want to have kids that are third culture kids? So I have a son who's also from Russia, and he doesn't know what team to cheer for in the Olympics or even in the World Cup. You sort your friends by continent, and you begin receiving birthday wishes like you saw in the video. You're getting phone calls in the middle of the night, right? Hello, hello. Because, you know, even now, right now, in California, where I would call someone, it's 7:30 in the morning, right? Or they may call me. So there's a benefit I was sharing this before, your worldview, blending in mobility, you're used to a mobile lifestyle, you have intercultural sensitivity, right? You're able to appreciate the culture that you're in and not try to make it your own culture. Cross-cultural skills. You're more interested in people from other cultures. So one thing that's interesting even about my son when he went to university, he joined an international soccer team because he felt more comfortable with the international students. Challenges of being a third culture kid. It's hard to answer that question, where am I from? And sometimes that sense of belonging is challenged. You can have rootlessness, you can have some grieving because you're leaving a culture. And something that I want to focus on here, I'm going to keep going, is when we say goodbye, it's important to say goodbye well when you're leaving your culture and going into leaving one culture to another. Because we can take baggage from one culture to another culture. And so a term has been coined, building a raft. And the raft represents relationships. Is there anyone you need to say you're sorry to? Affirmation. Going to those people that you really care about and say, wow, man, you're a really good friend. I'm going to miss you. Or you say you're sorry, like, I think I might have hurt you that one time, and I just want to make sure our relationship is good. And then the third one, say goodbye. Saying goodbye is really important for our kids and for all of us. To people, places, pets, possessions. Before our kids went to the States, we made a list of the things they wanted to say goodbye to. And then we talk about what is it going to be like when you go to the new place. What can you look forward to? Oh, I can look forward to McDonald's. Well, there's McDonald's here now, but before there was no McDonald's. Oh, or I can look forward to seeing family, or I can look forward to going here or there. So it helps wrap up moving. And so this is my third culture family, 2 boys and a daughter-in-law now. And so it's just interesting to see their process of letting go of one culture, but taking part of that culture with them into the new culture they live in.